So welcome for the first episode of King's Backyard Farming. In this series we're going to show you what we do in the orchard at King's, and then we're going to take those principles back and show you how to do them in your own garden. So you're getting the same outcome as what we would on the farm. The first thing that we need to do when it comes to planting crops is we've got to select this location where we're going to put them. So in our orchard you can see we've got a patch being prepared here, got our windbreaks up, but we're in a position where there's no shade at all. We're in full sun. So this patch here we're going to put watermelons in, but it wouldn't matter if it's watermelons or eggplants or pumpkins or tomatoes or zucchinis. All these products require full sunlight. So we're in the northern part of Australia, in Katherine, the Northern Territory, and this growing season that we're planting now is actually winter time for New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, Western Australia, bottom of Western Australia. So we can grow all those crops in winter, whereas down south you would be growing them in summer. The difference between growing them in the territory is that our day lengths are shorter. So because it's winter, yes, we're still getting 28 to 34 degrees in winter, and everyone should say that's heaps, but it's not just the temperature of growing, it's the amount of hours we have sunlight. So selecting your plot in your backyard is very important in the Northern Hemisphere for winter crops, because we need the maximum amount of sunlight we can get. And I know in some gardens you're going to be shaded from next door, either in the morning or in the afternoon. So somewhere in your garden you're going to have to try and select a spot that has got the maximum amount. If it's not ideal, like we have here in the orchard, you've got to try and work out what's the longest amount of time. So if you're losing a little bit in the morning but you're getting the whole rest of the day, that's ideal. If you're losing a little bit in the afternoon but the morning sun is going right through to about 3 o'clock, that's the best you can do, well then that's good enough. If we don't have enough sunlight, we're not going to get enough growth in our plants, or they will get too spindly and they won't give you a good crop. But you are where you are. You've got to select the best place in your garden to be able to grow the crops that we're going to show you how to grow. So number one, select the site to put your garden. We need to talk about soil. Soil is the medium in which you're growing your crops in. It's the medium which holds the roots down in. It's the medium that keeps the water in the root zone. It's the medium that has the nutrition or holds the nutrition in. There's three main differences of soil. So here we've got, at King's, we've got a beautiful sandy soil. So it's fairly crumbly, so that's quite wet. We had rain last night. That's quite wet and it sort of breaks up. So we class this as sandy soil. The second one is called sandy loam. So that means we've got sand is a very coarse grained soil, so the water can move through it quickly. It's got great drainage, all those things. But loam soil is a smaller grain. So sandy loam has sand and loam in it, which means that when we crump it like that, it will stay together. So this is breaking up. Sandy loam will stay together. And the last major category for soil is clay. So it goes from sand through to clay, and clay is a very fine grain soil, hard for water to go through. It holds water very well, but it can get waterlogged quite easily, and water can just sit. If it's really, really good clay, the water can just sit there and waterlog your whole soil. Each soil type has its benefits. This sand that we have here, the water goes through very quickly. So when we put a dripper in, the water profile goes like that. So it just goes straight down beneath the dripper. It's like it's just flowing straight through. So it doesn't hold the water very well. Whereas a sandy loam, the where the drippers go, the dripper may be up here, it'll go out like that, and clay soil, the water will go quite a distance out. So each one's got to be managed differently. So if you've got sandy soil like this, we're going to need more water. If you've got clay soil in your garden, we're going to have to do some things to try and get it to allow water to move through it. We'll show you how to do that. If you've got a sandy loam is ideal for your backyard, then we're going to have to work out how much water is required so you're not giving them too much. So and soil selection and understanding your soil is a very important thing when it comes to your backyard garden. Back in the garden. Actually take two, the other one didn't work, but anyway. So as we're looking at the site location out in the orchard, we've got a total full sun. Down in the garden we've got trees right around, so we are here probably 8 o'clock in the morning, and we've got shade coming across this garden. But so it's 8 o'clock now and the sun's getting above the trees, so we've got nearly all morning's sunlight, and then in the afternoon we've got those trees there. So for us, in the build-up with tomatoes and that, as the weather gets hotter and hotter, it's actually beneficial to have a little bit of shade in the afternoon for tomatoes, but we've got what we've got. So if your garden's shaded, that's your garden. So we'll grow with what we've got, but the more sun you can get in the winter, the better. So it's try and find the best spot in your garden so we can get something to happen. Too good. Come on, Wolf. All right, so we've selected our site for our garden. So we've selected a site that gives us more morning sun through to about 3 o'clock, and then we'll still get scattered sun on this patch here right through the rest of the day. So we've got the best part of the day, and the most intense sun is protected a little bit. So this is the first stage where you've actually got to do a bit of work. So what we need to do is find out what soil type you've got in your garden. So I'm going to be a little bit spoiled here today because, Mr. Wolf, out the way, because we've had some rain. The soil is going to be pretty soft. So I'm just going to dig down and see what we've got. Lay it out. Try and get down about 600 or 800 mil. As you can see, we've got some nice soil here, easy to dig. But I know that if you're in town, you see it's changing a little bit on the bottom as we go deeper. So the less the organic matter, the more orange this gets. There we go. So we got similar soil right through this profile to about, oh, that's about 400 or 500 mil. You can see it's a bit more compact down the bottom. So we can see up the top of this soil profile that we've got some organic matter. We've got a bit of sticks and a bit of whatever that is left over. Look like palm tree. And we got, you know, as we go deeper, we get down to this oranger soil. That's because there's not really much organic matter in there. And it's a bit more dense. So up the block when we did this, well, it's still breaking up similar. But I can feel that there's more organic matter, more loam in this soil than it was up the block. So for example, here we've got a great sample. We've got sand with a little bit of loam in it all the way through that profile. That means we're going to get great drainage, but we're going to have to feed it and make sure we've got enough nutrition for the plants to grow, because sandy soil, most of the nutrition gets washed out.